What exactly makes a Loki a Loki?
Independence, authority, style.
A dying planet, the Timekeepers, and the TVA. I'm Max Scoville. Welcome to Canon Fodder, presented by Pokemon Go. Directed by Kate Herron, Episode 3 forces our two time-displaced trickster gods to get to know each other a little, and once again, we're pretty sure this Lady Loki might not even be a Loki at all. We got more clues that the Timekeepers are also not who they claim to be, plus connections to the MCU's prior phases, all wrapped up in that classic Asgardian charm.
Another!
But before we get into all that, I have to warn you, this super weird space train is barreling straight towards spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen Loki Episode 3 yet, or if you just don't want to hear about it, now would be a prudent time to disembark while we sort it out.
Bye.
Okay, now that we're past the spoiler warning, let's get to what is probably the biggest reveal in this episode. The TVA, or at least the TVA staffers, were not created by the Timekeepers as previously believed. They're all variants, according to our Lady Loki, whose real name is officially confirmed to be Sylvie. These details might seem a little trivial when you're about to get mashed by a frickin' planet, but that's actually pretty important, so let's recap and show how we got here. Picking up from Episode 2, Sylvie and Loki dip out through a time door, leaving Mobius and a squad of Minutemen back in 2050 Alabama as an apocalyptic hurricane is about to wipe everything out. Their time door leads them directly back to the TVA, where Sylvie immediately tries to access the Timekeepers and attack them. Before all this, the episode opens on a scene where Sylvie is, enchanting the Minuteman C-20, the one who got taken hostage at the Ren Fair in 1985, Wisconsin. Sylvie makes C-20 think she's just out with a friend enjoying some quality top-shelf margs, but the real thing Sylvie is after is intel on the Timekeepers.
How many people are guarding the Timekeepers?
And as we found out last episode, C-20 gives it up. She tells Sylvie exactly how to find the Timekeepers once inside the TVA. Sylvie's pretty direct about what she wants: to stab her way to the Timekeepers, and then stab them, if they're even a them at all. By the way, we think they're not. We have a theory about that, so stick around. For now, back to the recap. Loki meets up with Sylvie at the elevators and makes his pitch, which seems like a bit of a non-starter for Sylvie. Doesn't matter because they're interrupted by Ravonna Renslayer and they drop through another hasty time door to 2077 Lamentis 1, a moon on the edge of Kree space. The temp pad's battery is low, so they gotta find a way to charge it. Also, they have to get the heck off that moon. The planet the moon orbits is about to destroy, well, everything, so finding a way off is, kind of a priority. Sylvie tells Loki the plan he interrupted was years in the making, so understandably, she's a little disappointed. Okay, maybe a lot disappointed. Anyway, Sylvie and Loki search for a way to charge the temp pad, which leads them to a train, which in turn leads to a giant ark, a spaceship loaded up with survivors trying to escape off-world. Loki and Sylvie sneak aboard the train and eventually make it to the ark, only to watch it get obliterated by falling planet shrapnel. Oh, and also they just straight up broke the temp pad, and that's probably not covered by the warranty, so now they're totally stranded on a distant world in the future that's a few hours away from certain destruction.
I was told that everyone who works at the TVA was created by the Timekeepers.
That's ridiculous. They're all variants, just like us.
That right there is easily the heaviest reveal in this episode. It's just one line of dialogue, but it reveals a lot about the TVA, the Timekeepers, and, well, what we've been watching for 3 episodes now. The TVA were not, in fact, created by the Timekeepers, no matter how much the TVA repeats that lie. That means 2 things. 1, each and every TVA staffer is a variant that came from a real timeline at some point, and 2, all of those variants have also been brainwashed, or possibly enchanted, to the point where they don't know the nature of their own reality. Ask a TVA agent where they came from, even a smart one like Mobius, and this is the answer you're gonna get.
Oh, those lazy Timekeepers, what are they waiting for?
Au contraire. No, because while we protect what came before, they're toiling away in their chamber, untangling the epilogue from its infinite branches.
I see.
Wow! The scene where Sylvie enchants C-20's mind is pretty important here too. C-20 is clearly a real person who enjoys an ice-cold marg like anyone else. Her memories are very earthbound. Of course, perhaps it's possible C-20 enjoyed a little shore leave on her time off, but the episode confirms that Sylvie built this construct from the Minuteman's actual memories. Sylvie also describes C-20's mind as messed up and clouded. It's probably safe to assume that all TVA agent minds are pretty similar. Of course, none of this explains the physical location of the sprawling TVA facility, how it got there, the TVA's timey-wimey tech, or how Infinity Stones and magical powers are just rendered useless, but don't let that detract from the revelation that the TVA is staffed by brainwashed variants, because that's still a huge reveal and actually tells us a lot about the Timekeepers and what they're really up to.
You know you can tell me anything, right?
Of course.
So why won't you tell me how many people are guarding the Timekeepers?
So once again, the Timekeepers are mentioned a lot, but never seen. Sylvie gets to the elevator C-20 told her would lead to the Timekeepers, but never goes up. I think there's a big twist coming for the Timekeepers. The leading theory still has to be that the Timekeepers are in some way connected to Kang the Conqueror. Anytime you're dealing with time jumping in the Marvel Universe, cinematic or otherwise, you have to bring up Kang. That's his whole thing. But that would mean Lovecraft Country's Jonathan Majors would have to at least cameo in this Disney Plus series before Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania drops in 2023. Then again, that's not unheard of. The MCU is all about slow build-up. Jeremy Renner made his first appearance as Hawkeye in Thor more than a year before he showed up in the first Avengers film. And look at Thanos, his first 2 appearances were in post-credit stingers, and there were 6 years of build-up between his debut after the Avengers credits and him being the big bad in Infinity War. So if the Timekeepers are someone else, Kang still has to be a top suspect, and Ravonna Renslayer being a judge in the TVA only helps support that. But there's another more out there theory. The Timekeepers are to this series what the Power Broker was to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We spent a lot of that season speculating different Marvel characters who could have been the Power Broker when the answer was obviously Sharon Carter all along. Same thing with WandaVision. Everyone is convinced that Evan Peters was a secret Mephisto, or at least a multiverse version of Quicksilver, but he just wound up being a goofy dick joke from the start.
Boner.
Some kind of Timekeepers reveal has to happen, that's obvious. And yeah, a character like Kang would be a great fit here, but gauging on the way that the reveals in WandaVision and Falcon and Bucky played out, we suspect the answer is already in front of us.
I know what this place is.
What is it?
It's an illusion. It's a cruel, elaborate trick conjured by the weak to inspire fear. A desperate attempt at control.
So here's the actual theory. The secret player behind the Timekeepers, it's another variant Loki. He's playing a cruel and elaborate trick on the TVA staffers and the rest of existence. He's sending Minutemen out to hunt down all variant Lokis so he himself can be the most powerful god in the multiverse, which sounds a lot like something the God of Mischief would do.
I'm a trickster. Yes.
Okay, it's time for Easter eggs, but honestly, we didn't spot a ton on Lamentis 1, mostly some cheeky callbacks to the other Thor movies.
Another!
Okay, yeah, there's that. Loki practices the Asgardian custom of celebrating a tasty beverage by immediately making a huge mess for someone else to clean up.
Another!
Lamentis, the doomed planet about to wipe out the moon they're on, has appeared in Marvel Comics before. Like we mentioned earlier, Lamentis exists on the edge of Kree space.
I'm sorry about not calling some faded photocopy of me Loki.
Good, because that's not who I am anymore. I'm Sylvie now.
This is yet another clue, among others, that Sylvie isn't just another Loki. At the very least, she has more in common with Sylvie Lushton, aka Enchantress from Marvel Comics. Loki lovingly describes his beloved adopted mother Frigga. You know, the one that he absolutely got murdered in Thor: The Dark World.
Must have been would-be princesses, or perhaps another prince.
A bit of both.
Loki verbally confirms that he's indeed bisexual, which is pretty significant. Kid Loki is bi in the comics, but this here marks the first time a bi character is an MCU lead. Loki director Kate Herron also tweeted about this, saying, "From the moment I joined Loki, it was important to me and my goal to acknowledge Loki was bisexual. It's part of who he is and who I am. I know this is a small step, but I'm happy and my heart is so full to say that this is now canon in the MCU." Well, we'll drink to that.
Another!
And there's a little thing Loki does after he gets thrown, and he does it again here. In his defense, he does get thrown around kind of a lot.
Please! My brother's dying! Get help! Help him!
But what did you think of this episode of Loki, and what is the real secret behind the Timekeepers? Do you think we'll actually see Kang, or is this a big Loki trick? Let's hear your theories in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for watching this episode of Canon Fodder. For more crackpot theories involving the God of Mischief, check out our video on how Loki could be setting up Secret Wars, and as always, don't forget to follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.
Just drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!